Hanging out here with Bob. He's just saying this stuff has been classified to 1/8 inch.
Yeah, most of it.
Most of it.
Not the greatest classification. You don't have to.
So we're gonna run some cons here. And this is some low grade cons. Stuff that's left over for the end of the season. He's already ran all the nice stuff before I got down here. And we gave Bob this adventure sluice when we were up at the mine site, and he hooked it up to a piece of equipment here. You can see, had it hooked up in there, and he ran some cons through it, and then he called me and said, "Hey, what do you got to do some running on some material here?" And because he liked how it worked. And so I'm going to kind of let him speak to what he saw better that opposed him to firing up the big rig here, the jig and the oversize, and then the finishing here in running just this system. Bob's cleanup stuff.
Well, David, what I had is I had a Goldfield gold prong table with a jig, 16-inch jig on the top of it, and I have this enhancer, and then we've got a Goldfield black sand separator, a magnetic separator. I was having to put the material into them. It would take 3 to 4 hours running it across the little jig that was on the Goldfield, and then across the table. Then I'd have to take the middlings from the table and the tails from the table and deal with these again. So it was tying up all morning long on it. When you sent this to me, you see 10 minutes here, I'm done, and when I take this mat out and put it in the pan, it's cleaner than when I take it off the table.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, let's run some of this. We already see some gold, and he was saying this was the low grade, and I already see gold stacking up. So during his mining season, of course, he lives 4 hours from me here in Helena. I wasn't able to come down and watch him do some cleanups, and of course, he was busy working too. And he said, I called him because it got cold and said, "Hey, your mining season's probably coming to an end. Are we gonna do some cleanups?" And he goes, "Buddy, we're all cleaned up." He goes, "I got some low grade stuff I can show you." So what we're seeing here, I guess, is the low grade cleanup from, I don't know what from portion, what it's from, or
Well, David, by going to the micro mini mat cleanup system, I could run it on a daily basis and not get behind on my concentrates. Now I spend 1/10 of the time for the product, and it gives me time to work on other fields. The only reason I'm keeping the enhancer here is so when we get a large amount in, it needs to be screened. I have it set up that I can screen it, but the top switch is going to be going across a green mat. The bottom ones are the micros. Again, and it's because the product works.
yeah, we got the micro down here below it. They're gonna powder coat that. We're gonna put the dredge mat in there. So, yeah. So as you can see, he's just running these cons across 2 micros. And one of the things he's saying, I don't know exactly, is that it's a simplicity thing, is what I see.
It's a time saver like you can't believe.
Yeah. Because when it takes to fire up some more complicated equipment sometime, it only pays if you have a lot of material you got to cut. Like, for example, he's got the screen above and wants to screen off a lot of oversize. And that oversize is going to run across the dredge mat and catch any of the larger stuff. And then he's going to run his smaller stuff across the micro mats below. So that cleanup, was that from up on the hill or from a different location?
This comes from up on the hill where it was just it was rim up the buckets that I still had sitting here that I just hadn't did the final cleanup on. It's not much. I'll be surprised if there's an ounce and a quarter, ounce and a half in there.
Yeah, since there's anything less than an ounce, I guess, I could probably just take it home since it isn't worth his time to melt it, I'm just teasing him.
You go get a letter from the other David.
Well, see, now you have to make things complicated. No, I'm teasing.
All joking aside, this thing has just freed up my time and concentrate. They can bring a bucket in, it's normally from a 14-inch dredge mat. We might get 9 or 10 pounds of concentrate versus having 70 or 80 pounds when we were using other mats. So, in a matter of a few minutes, I can clean it up. I can turn around, pull a little bit of black sand away from it, prep it, so I can just put it in the furnace. I'm done with it completely by the time that I run it across the little bowl table. I mean, and not, the wholesale table I was having to rerun the Midlands back across. It's nothing, it's not that it's a bad table. You know, I don't need it now with this. In fact, if you guys need the table, give me a call.
So, just finishing up a bucket of cons. Finishing up some miscellaneous material laying around the shop from up on the hill. Bob's been running this double mini 6. I gave him an adventure sluice last time I talked to him. He put it behind one of those little pieces of cleanup. He liked it. Called me, asked me what else you got geared like this for cleanup. I asked him how big a lots he was running. And he said, old square head nail.
Yeah, from an old timer sluice.
Yeah, he said he was running them, not even a quarter of a bucket is what they were getting for cleanups out of the dredge mats up at the location. So I said, yeah, this mini double 6 is going to get you just fine. So this allows for him not to fire up the big pieces of equipment. He's got this finishing set up here, some jigs with an oversized and an undersized below it. And he also had 2 other pieces of equipment that he had in the shop, but he's moved out since he's fired this up to make room in his shop for what he deemed important stuff. Anyway, so yeah, so he got some gold. We're going to show what that looks like in the pan here in a second. So were you doing that before the dream mats, or it just kind of confirmed what you were doing, or did you kind of...
Actually, it was a little reverse of what it was. I learned to pan this way because I tore a muscle in my arm, and I couldn't handle a big pan.
Okay.
And I had a professor that taught me to do this.
Oh.
And it's easier on my wrist. And when I saw your mats, I said, that's a lot like how
Yeah, I remember you were telling me a story, and I couldn't figure if the chicken came before the egg or whatever, you know.
And so basically, all I do is the flatter the pan, it's gonna throw more out, be more aggressive. Okay, if I tip it up this way, it's more passive. Okay, now as you can see, we've got a little bit of lead over there on that side. Let's see what I'll do with this now is because I don't want the Klingon magnetite. If when I pull it with this of having a magnetic lock
Yep.
in there. So I'll take this over, I dry it, and I let the magnet on my heater pull it all. I'll show you here.
Okay, cool. So 1.45, so we were above an ounce, so all right.